The reason why this would be the second system I would put in place is because if you don't have an accurate way of gathering client approvals, whether that be, approvals on drawings, approvals on FF&E, thick furniture, if you don't have a clear way of tracking those approvals and gaining those approvals from the client, you are going to waste so much time when the client rings you up and says, can you just talk me through how we got to selecting that piece when it arrives on site and they don't love it?
Hi, I'm Beth, the founder of More Time to Design and your host of the Design Dialogues podcast. I've been a designer for the last 12 years and I've run my own studio for 5. And I know how hard it is to run a successful business. You not only need to be great at designing, but you need to be great at all the other things as well. I created More Time to Design, a software platform to help designers run efficient studios, and I've created the Design Dialogue podcast to help us all learn together. Each week, we will meet professionals who are at the top of their game doing things that help us run our studios. We'll have conversations with social media managers, interior design mentors, copywriters, stylists, photographers, suppliers, and also designers who have been in the game for a long time and who have such a wealth of knowledge to share. I hope that each week you feel inspired and informed at the end of each of our design dialogues. So join me for the Design Dialogue podcast.
Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Design Dialogues podcast. And this week it is a solo with Beth episode. This week I am talking about how when it is quiet and you don't have as many clients coming in as you like and it all feels a bit unsure, it can actually be the best time in your business. Now, I know that feels a little bit contradictory, but stick with me and I'll explain. The reason why I think when it is quiet, when the clients aren't calling up as much as they could be, the lead pipeline isn't as full as you'd like it to be, clients are dragging their heels a little bit on progressing their projects. The reason why I think that is the best time in your business is because it allows you to work on your business a little bit more than what you would normally do. And when you work on your business, that means that you are setting yourself up for success when it gets busier again. And it will. I've been in the industry for long enough to know that we are in a cycle and the cycle will change and it'll get busy again. And this is such a great time for you to get all your ducks in a row so that when it gets busy, when the phone starts calling, you are in the best position to take full advantage of all of the clients that are going to contact you. And the best way to do that is to get your systems and processes in order. Now, for all of you regular listeners, you will know that I love systems and processes. It's a very dry subject, but it is the difference between what makes a good business and a bad business. A business that you love or a business that you don't love. A business where you feel in control or a business that feels like chaos. However, I know that for some people, they might not even know where to start. They might go, okay, well, I hear you, Beth. I hear that you need systems and processes. But you might be saying as you're on your walk or in the car, where do I even start? Where do I start with my systems and processes? Maybe you're a new business and you're not really sure where to start. Or maybe you've been in business for a while and you've got some systems and processes, but they're not really working for you and you just feel overwhelmed by the whole process. So today I wanted to give you 3 processes that I would have set up in my business if I was starting from scratch. If today was the first day I was opening the doors to my studio, these are the 3 systems and processes that I would put in place. They're not the only ones, but they are the first 3. And the reason why they're the first three is because I think they are the three areas where if you don't have them in place, you can come unstuck really quickly. So the first one is time tracking. Now, I talk about time tracking a lot, and it's because I really think that it is one of, if not the most important thing you can do in your design studio. And the reason why I think that is because design is a task, or the process of design is an innately time-consuming task. It's time-consuming because it's not a linear process. You know, think about when you're putting together a scheme or a concept, thinking about fixtures and finishes. It takes a while to come together. You have to revisit it. It needs to, it needs to kind of permeate in your brain a bit. So knowing how long you are taking to do something means that you are charging the right amount. Now, whether or not you're charging hourly or with a value-based fixed fee proposal, and the pros and cons of both of those are a whole different episode. But regardless of which way you are charging, if you don't know the amount of time it is taking you to do something, you have no idea if what you are charging your client is the correct amount. So having a system and a process around how you track your time is crucial. Now, it doesn't have to be elaborate. It can be as simple as jotting things down in your notebook. It could be as part of a software platform like More Time to Design, which has time tracking integrated into it. It could be a standalone time tracker. It really doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as sophisticated as you like, but you just need to do it. And you need to get into the habit of it. It is a habit that you need to develop. You also need to track things like when you go to a client meeting. How long do you spend traveling to and from there? It might not be that you charge the client for that, especially if you do like a fixed fee, a value-based fee proposal. It might not be that you actually charge for that travel time, but you need to be aware of how long you spend traveling to projects so that when you are putting together these fixed fee proposals, you are allowing enough time and enough fee to cover that time. So it's really important that you are tracking your time. So that's number one. Number two is the way in which you gather client approvals. The reason why this would be the second system I would put in place is because if you don't have an accurate way of gathering client approvals, whether that be, approvals on drawings, approvals on FF&E, furniture, if you don't have a clear way of tracking those approvals and gaining those approvals from the client, you are going to waste so much time when the client rings you up and says, can you just talk me through how we got to selecting that piece when it arrives on site and they don't love it? Or if there is another problem, or if you are doing things over multiple revisions, when was something approved, at what revision stage? You need to keep track of this information. It helps you keep your projects moving. There's nothing worse than trying to sift through multiple emails, trying to find at what point, at what stage in the project was that approved. So having a clear and concise and easy to use for the client way of tracking and of approvals and also gaining their approval is crucial for the project. So, being able to say, oh, okay, we've got like 3 payments we need to make next week. And we've invoiced the client, but they haven't paid that yet. We need to follow up with them so that they make the payment in time, so that we have the money in our bank account in time for us to make those payments to the suppliers so that the project keeps running along. So that's why financial oversight of your projects is so important, and having a system to do that. Now, once again, whether it's a spreadsheet, a Google Doc, a software platform like More Time to Design, a notebook, however you want to do it, being able to see where you're up to in a project, ideally you should be able to just click one click and it's there. It is going to make your life so much easier. So they are my 3 top systems that I would set up if I was opening the doors to my studio today. So number 1 is time tracking. Number 2 is the process around gaining client approvals. And number 3 is the process and system around the financial oversight of my projects. Now, if you've got any questions about these, please don't hesitate to email me or send me a DM. I'm always happy to answer those questions for you. And I hope this has kind of inspired you to, even though it's might be feeling a bit quiet in your studio, turn this into a really positive time that you can be working on your business, so that when the phone rings again and you have an abundance of clients coming in, which we will, it always happens, you are ready to take full advantage and you are able to take on as many clients as possible and as that you want to. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I will see you next time for our next Design Dialogue.
Thank you for listening to this Design Dialogue. I hope you have found it full of inspiration and helpful information to take into your design studio. If you like the podcast and want to hear more, consider sharing it or writing a review, as it helps us reach more people, and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. If you would like to unlock the power of effortless studio management and elevate your design business to new heights, please follow the links in our show notes to see how More Time to Design can help you build a better business. Have a great week, and I will see you for our next Design Dialogue.